Our financial system is rigged. Every single action, thought, opinion, mindset, and decision you make determines whether you're victimizing yourself to be under the system or positioning yourself to be ahead of it. Want to break the cycle? It starts with knowing the 6 ways you've been unknowingly programmed for financial struggle. Without further ado, here are the 6 ways you are programmed to be poor. Programmed by the media. Now let's have a real talk about how the media shapes the way we think about money and success. Ever notice how movies and shows often portray rich folks as the bad guys? It's like they're always driving around in fancy cars and living in these over-the-top mansions. It can really mess with our mindset, making us think that only shady people get ahead or live those extravagant lives. But it's not just Hollywood. Think about those headlines you see about billionaires like Bill Gates raking in insane amounts of cash. It's everywhere. And let's not forget about social media influencers, living what seems like perfect, luxurious lives. They're sipping fancy drinks on yachts, and it's all over our feeds. These messages are everywhere, and they can really shape how we see wealth. Sure, there are exceptions, like Tony Stark from Spider-Man, but most of the time, rich characters are painted as the baddies. If you've been soaking all this in since you were a kid, it's bound to have left a mark. I'm not saying you should toss out your TV and only read books 24/7, but it might not hurt to be mindful of what you're consuming. What's even more important is recognizing these negative messages about money. Don't let them sink in. Be aware that they're there and choose not to buy into them. When it comes to learning about money, there's a whole treasure trove of knowledge online. YouTube, for instance, is packed with educational content like this one. But a lot of us tend to gravitate towards seemingly entertaining stuff instead of the educational goldmines. Imagine having a personal financial coach in your pocket. Well, that's what educational content can be for you. Studies even show that people who engage with financial education tend to make smarter money moves. So don't pass up on valuable resources. It's not just about watching a video, it's about soaking up insights, learning new strategies, and gaining the confidence to take charge of your financial destiny. Remember, knowledge is the key to financial success. So keep seeking out those nuggets of wisdom and start taking steps towards a brighter financial future. Hit that subscribe button and let's dive in it together. It's all right at your fingertips, programmed by the environment. The environment we grow up in, especially when it comes to money, can have a major impact on our future. So imagine if you've been raised with this belief that money is the root of all evil, that it causes problems, and that it's super hard to come by. Chances are that mindset has made its way into your adult life, and changing it can be a real challenge. Now think about where you grew up. If it was in a community where everyone was struggling to make ends meet, that might be the only reality you know, and that can stick with you. It's not just about fewer opportunities, it's about struggling to even imagine a different way of life. Those early years are like the blueprint for how we'll live our lives. Poverty, for many, isn't just a circumstance. It's a mindset passed down through generations. Middle class, too. It's all about what you're taught in your family. Those old sayings like, get a job, work hard, you'll never be rich. Or thinking, the rich are evil, they stick with you. Money, though, wouldn't change a thing if you're carrying a poor man's soul. Even lottery winners find themselves facing the same old issues. It's like they've got this financial thermostat set to poor, and it's tough to budge. These experiences can leave you with a negative view of money and those who have it. What do you need to do to break this jinx? When you catch yourself saying, I can't afford it, or maybe I can't do that, and then start to believe it until it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, correct yourself. Instead of shutting yourself down with statements like that, try asking, how can I afford it? Or how can I do that? It opens up possibilities instead of closing doors. Now let's talk about tough truth, programmed by design. A lot of us are born into a system that's designed to keep us on the lower end of the financial scale. It's not our fault, it's just how the system operates. Sure, capitalism has its perks. It can create opportunities and help us build something for ourselves, but if it's not kept in check, it can lead to some pretty messy situations. Companies with giant budgets targeting you with ads nonstop. Banks giving worse deals to those already struggling. Companies paying workers peanuts. All these things keep a segment of the population right where they are. Take Apple, for example. Their marketing budgets are sky high, and they know exactly how to tap into your buying impulses. It's like they've got a direct line to your brain. We are constantly bombarded by these multi-billion-dollar companies that seem to know us better than we know ourselves. Resisting the urge to buy into it all is like trying to take on a dragon armed with a hot dog. It's a real uphill battle. So what's the way out? Just being aware of this battle is a huge step. We've all been programmed to spend, spend, spend. The question is, Do we really need all that stuff? So remember, you're not alone in this struggle. We're all in it together, and being mindful of these influences can help you take control of your financial destiny. If you found this content helpful so far, hit the subscribe button to give us a pat on the back. Programmed by the school system. You know, it's kind of crazy how it hasn't really changed much since the Industrial Revolution. Back then, the world shifted gears and factories needed a bunch of workers. Before that, most folks were doing their own thing, farming, setting their own schedules, and living pretty free. But then came these factory schools. These schools were all about teaching kids to follow orders, read, and keep track of time. Farmers suddenly found themselves taking orders from strangers and living a much more structured life dictated by someone else. The quality of life took a hit too. Factories weren't exactly the safest places to work. Fast forward to today, and guess what? It's still the same. And the worst part? We are programmed at school to be workers. The school system isn't big on teaching you about money. It's more focused on shaping you into an employee, a doctor, a lawyer, or a specialist. The idea of building wealth? Not so much. It's like we're all programmed to be workers, not thinkers or financially savvy individuals. And this isn't just a random rant. It's tied to how schools were set up around 200 years ago during the Industrial Revolution. They were basically churning out workers who could follow orders and fit into the factory system. So yeah, the government gave free education, but the aim was to create a workforce that would say, "Yes, sir," "No, sir," show up on time, and run those machines. It wasn't about nurturing independent thinkers or future entrepreneurs. It's like the education system still trains us to be employees, stuck in a paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. Get a job, stay there forever, retire, and well, you know the rest. Entrepreneurs work for something bigger than just a paycheck. They're driven by a vision, not just a 9 to 5. But the moment that paycheck hits, it's like a switch flips. That entrepreneurial spirit takes a back seat. Fear of making mistakes. That's a big one. Schools make you feel like if you're not acing certain subjects, you're falling behind. They don't exactly encourage trying new things, and that's a bummer. People get trained to steer clear of failure when, in reality, it's a part of learning and growing. In school, they sort of punish you for messing up. But guess what? That's where some of the best lessons come from. Failure isn't the end, it's a stepping stone to success. Let's take Thomas Edison, for instance. Before he invented the light bulb, he went through thousands of failed attempts. Imagine if he had seen those failures as the end of the line. We might still be living in the dark. Don't be afraid to take risks. And when you make a mistake, embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Because in the grand scheme of things, those mistakes are the building blocks of your success story. So we've discussed all the big bad wolves keeping you broke. It's time to give you the antidote. But just before that, you can hit the subscribe button to give us some encouragement. It's been quite a ride. How to reprogram your mind for wealth. The first step to break free is to deliberately choose what you feed your brain. Ditch those negative old-school thoughts and pick only a few voices for financial wisdom. These mental habits came from somewhere else, so the good ones must also come from somewhere. However, be careful to only listen to high achievers with results. As you soak up their wisdom, make small tweaks every day here and there to align with the wisdom you're getting. Trade some of your TikTok time for a bit of financial know-how. Learn about saving, investing, and hustling for that extra cash, aka passive income. Get books about money, the mind, and business. Listen to financial gurus on YouTube and podcasts, and get resources that will fire up your financial mindset. Also, learn to work smart and not hard, because it's not all about grinding 24/7. It's about finding the sweet spots for making bank without burning out. Think about strategies that bring in cash without chaining you to a desk. And once you get those plans, don't wait for the stars to align. Get moving immediately. Step out, take action, reach out, kickstart that business plan, or set up a savings account for your next move. Mistakes are like those secret levels in a game. They're where the real lessons hide. So see slip-ups as springboards to crushing your goals. Keep going, but chill. Success takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither are financial empires. Some of the big shots hit their stride later in life. Skip the comparison game. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Your journey is unique, and it's all good. Being loaded is cool, but remember, it's just one piece of the puzzle. True wealth is the whole package, so enjoy the process. What's the most valuable financial tip you've learned today? How do you plan to apply this newfound financial knowledge in your life? Join the conversation and let's support each other on the journey to financial success. Ready to take charge of your financial journey? Start by subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications for more valuable insights.